Okay, guys. So we'll start. We'll start with the basic introduction as to what is a computer system. So a computer system consists of two parts: hardware and software. Hardware is a collection of all physical components of the computer, like your keyboard, your mouse, your CPU, your monitor. And software is divided into further categories as software packages, languages, and an operating system. Also, guys, the notes for the class have been uploaded on the group. So if you guys get lost anytime during the class, you can either ask me or you can refer to the notes. Okay. Uh, so we'll continue. What is an operating system? So an operating system is nothing but a collection of logically related programs which provides a user-friendly environment between the computer system and the user. For example, uh, guys, can everyone be mute, please? Yeah. Okay. So an example of an operating system would be Windows, Mac, Linux. These are the most famous operating systems that we know. Then examples of software packages. So wait, what is software package first? A software package is a collection of logically related programs for solutions to our problems. And who are we? We are users. Guys, it's totally fine if you all are lost now. You all don't need to know this, but it's just something that I'm telling you all as little prerequisites to going into programming. So yeah, so software package. I'll give you all an example of software package. MS Office, Microsoft Office is an example of software package. Tally is used for accounting, which is also an example of software packages. There are Adobe software packages like video editing. We can have those After Effects, Photoshop. These are all Adobe software packages. Then we go on to software languages. Now, okay, now we are getting into the main part. Software languages. Now, what are software languages? Like how we speak English, Hindi, Marathi, Tamil, whatever, so on. Similarly, computers understand a specific language called software languages. So, languages are meant to communicate with the computer for providing set of instructions to the computer system. So now there are many kind of languages like QBasic, C, C++, Java, .NET, Python. Java and Python are, the two of the most famous languages that are used by most software developers. Okay. So now we need to understand that a computer also cannot directly understand a programming language. For example, if I create a program called Unsung Crackers, you guys can see my screen, right? Can anyone
Yes,
reply?
correct. Yes, yes, yes. Am I audible, Kavish? Hello?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah, your screen is visible.
Yeah, okay. So, guys, don't get lost. This might look very complicated as of now, but I'm just giving you a certain example. So now, if you're creating a program, so now when I write something like this at public, okay, so if I write a small program like this, and if I compile it, or if I compile it, and if I run it, there will be an output to this program, which will be our company's name is Unsung Crackers. Okay, you guys are not supposed to understand this as of now, just an example. So the output to this program will be Unsung Crackers. So what I have written here is in a programming language called Java, and the output is also in English. But the computer does not understand Java. The computer understands only binary language, which is a combination of zeros and one. So now what is binary language is like 0001 0001. This is binary language. And if we have to write in this way, it's like impossible to write, like every single thing in binary language, like whatever I've written here from year to year has to be written in zeros and one. It becomes so complicated. So there are people in the past who have developed this programming language, So now how it works, this what I have written here, this entire thing gets converted into 0 0 1 0 0 1 0 0 whatever, and then the computer understands this. The computer doesn't understand this. The computer understands this. So now what is this zeros and ones called? This is called machine level language or low level language or binary language. So now it is very difficult for every programmer to know and understand programs written binary language. Hence, programming languages like Java, C++, Python, C Sharp, C have been created. So now these are high level languages, as I've said before, and they are very easy to understand by the computers, but are not easy to understand by us programmers. So now there are, what translates this into this is called a translator. Just need to know this, that this is being translated. This entire code that I've written in English is being translated to binary by something called translated by translators. Again, the notes for this have been provided in the group. If you all have just joined the group recently and don't have the notes, we'll send it after this class. So again, this code, the binary language code, is converted into English, or English is converted into binary language by something called a translator, which every programming language or every IDE is basically BlueJ. I am writing this code on BlueJ. Similarly, there are other IDEs like IntelliJ, uh, uh, PyCharm, Anaconda. There are many Sublime Text. So there are many libraries, for example, and I am writing in this one library called BlueJ. Now every IDE has its own translator and its own compiler, which compiles the code and translates the code. Now again, basics of Java. Java was developed by James Gosling in 1995. Java is one of the most widely used programming language. The earlier name for Java was Oak. It's funny how these two names are so disconnected. Like Java was earlier called Oak. After that, it was called Green, and then finally it was called Java, which we know today. So now the most important, the most important thing about Java is that it a object oriented programming language. Just learn this up. Okay, guys, just learn this up. Java is what? Java is an object oriented programming language. This is the most important and the most defining feature of Java. So now if I have to ask somebody, for example, Akash Ahir, what is Java? What is the main property of Java? Akash, are you there?
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. I am just joined.
Acha, okay. Farhan, you were there since the start. Can you tell me what is the main property or the main characteristic of Java programming language? Hi, Farhan, are you there? Okay, anyone else who knows what the answer to the question I'm talking about?
So Java is object
Oriented
oriented.
programming
It's an
language.
object-oriented programming language.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Java is an object-oriented programming language. Now, I'm going to explain every single term. What is object? What is oriented? What is programming? And what is language? Language I've explained. So the other three terms I'm going to explain in future classes, and maybe a term or two in this class too. Okay. So now there are certain features of Java which I mean, it's good to know, but no one's going to ask you. Like Java is of course simple. It's object oriented, which is again the most important thing about Java. It is portable. That this code written on my laptop can be transferred to your laptop, and this code can be run on your laptop also. So Java is platform independent. Now it doesn't depend ki whether I'm writing Java on Windows or Mac or Linux. The same program, if I compile it, will give me the same output. For example, now if I compile this program and if I run it, I'll teach you all how to do everything. I'm just showing you all how to run it. See, now on the output window, I get our company name is Unsung Crackers. because I have written a code to print unsung crackers on the output screen. Okay, guys. What this place where I'm writing, okay, it's called the IDE. And when I compile this program, compile as in, what the compiler does is checks if there are mistakes in the way I'm writing a code or in the syntax. Syntax is basically grammar. For example, um, English language. I mean, most of us know English. So if I have to write this, if I write a sentence, my name is Kavish, and I study in 12th standard. Okay. Now I have written this. Now there are certain mistakes in what I have written. I want any one of you to tell me what are all the mistakes in this language, in this line.
Spelling of name.
Okay, wait.
Instead of
I'll
I,
change
you
it.
have
1 second. 1 second. I'll change as you're saying. Spelling of name. Okay.
instead of I, you have written you,
So, should I have small I or capital I?
capital I.
Yes. Then,
I study in,
okay.
Capital I.
no small I only.
Then,
12th, 13th.
that's fine. Leave that. And there are two more mistakes.
It's capital K in Kavish and
Correct.
capital M in mine.
And one more mistake. Last one more mistake.
Full stop.
Full stop.
Correct. Correct. Now this makes the sentence somewhat correct. Okay. Now, for example, if I had to compile this sentence, now if I go to my English teacher, now in this case, my English teacher will be my compiler. Now, if I tell my English teacher, Miss, I have written this sentence, can you see if it's correct? Miss will see. My name is Kavish, comma, I study in 12th standard. Full stop there. My capital name is there. My M is capital. There's a comma. I is capital. She'll see that, okay, the syntax or the way of writing is correct. Hence, my sentence here will be correct. Now, similarly, there's a particular way of writing a programming language. You cannot write anything. Now, if I have to say, for example, instead of system dot, now, okay, to print something in Java, we write system dot out dot println. Now, if the simpler way could be like, for example, print Kavish. Now, if I try doing this and if I click on compile, which is here, it doesn't work. It tells me cannot find symbol method print. Basically, it's saying that there is nothing like print in this language. You have to follow what I've said. Now, you cannot write anything on your own. So I only have to write system.out.println Kavish. Again, you all are not supposed to know what I'm writing here. In future classes or in today's class, if we get time, we'll be explaining every single word in detail. I'm just telling you this is the way of writing, and in Java, we need to follow this way of writing. Again, if I copy this code and if I send it to somebody, and if you run this on your laptop, which is a Mac or which is a Linux based laptop, it will still work because Java is a platform independent language. It can work on any platform. Java is secure, Java is robust, Java is it's a high performing language, it's distributed dynamic. Again, all these terms will be explained in the future videos, but you can just just know it in your mind as of now. Okay. Now, anyone has any doubts till what we've done? Anyone has any doubt, small doubt, like it can be a very stupid doubt also. I'm ready to answer it. Any doubts, anyone? I mean, this is a revision class, okay, guys? So, I mean, y'all who have come here in this class should know everything what was taught to the previous classes. So, if y'all have any, okay, I can see a chat maybe. Intros, okay. Any doubts? No, guys. Okay. We'll continue then. Okay. Anyone in this class can tell me the answer to this. What is a program? Very simple question. The question is, what is a program? I want an answer. Anyone can answer it.
Yeah,
There is no right or
yeah.
wrong answer. Yeah, say.
A set of
It is a
instructions.
Yeah, continue.
a set of instructions that which is given to a computer to give a output, to take a output.
To give output, correct. Uh, this is who said this?
Yeah, Shraddha.
Shraddha. Mind me if your spelling is wrong, but as of now, we'll assume that's this right. Okay. Anyone else has another answer?
It is a process of creating
1 second. Process of creating
a set of instructions
a set of I'll write this short form. Yeah.
a set of instructions
Yeah. Sorry.
that tell a computer
Mm-hmm.
how to perform a task.
Okay. This is what you said. Correct. What's your name?
Soumya.
Okay. Anyone else has any other answer? Okay. Okay. Since we have only two answers. Okay. Anyone can guess between these two who is right or who is wrong, or if there's any change needed in anyone's answer. Instead of creating, I'll just say giving. Okay. This be better. Creating isn't exactly the right word. Yeah. Anyone has any opinions on these answers? Like one is right, one is wrong, one could be better.
Shraddha is more better.
Okay. One is saying Shraddha is more better. Guys, like it's fine. I mean, don't say the names. Just tell me answer one or answer two. Which one's better?
Answer two.
You're saying two is better. Okay.
Two, sir.
Two. Okay. I'll tell you who is better. Both of them are technically right. The combination of both of them gives me the right answer. So now I'll tell you all what the right answer is. Program is a set of instructions uh, given to the computer to solve a problem. It's a set of sequential instructions, I would say. Sequential, or in order, like the instruction. Sequential means in order. In order. The program is a set of sequential instructions. Now, what is instructions? Instructions is the codes we write. Codes given to the computer to solve a problem. This is what a program is. And this is what programmers do. They give set of instructions to the computer to solve a problem. Okay, can anyone give me a problem that is solved by programming?
A calculator.
Correct. Who said okay? Okay, fine. Absolutely correct. A calculator. Now, this calculator that you can see right now on my screen is programmed. For example, if I had to do 8 plus 90, 963 plus 789 plus 96352 on my own, it would take me a lot of time. But now with the calculator, I can get the answer in a second. Now that is how the calculator is also programmed. The calculator is programmed that if I write this plus this or minus that or divide by that or module is that, it has to give me a final answer. So now what the program is done, that it's made my task so much simpler. It is saving so much time. If I had to go and take a paper pen and add 20 plus 3000 plus 399 4000 8000 33,390, take me a lot of, I mean, it will take me it won't take so much time also, but take some time. And the code or the calculator in this case is saving so much time for me. So now, in order to solve so many like problems, programmers are hired to create programs which are used in computers. These programs generally help in performing various processes of the day. They help in businesses, administrative activities. Programs work with the degree of speed and accuracy. Okay, this is very important. Programs work with a degree of speed and accuracy. Yeah. So programs work with a degree of speed and accuracy. A large amount of data can be worked upon in a very small time. For example, if I have a list of 10 lakh people, if I have a list of 10 lakh people, and I tell you find the name, for example, I say find the name Aman, okay, and Aman is at, for example, the 7th lakh position. Now, if I am told to find the name Aman, I will start from 0, 1, 2, 3, then I'll reach 100, then I'll reach 1,000, 10,000, 1 lakh. It'll take me hundreds of days to find this name Aman where it is in that big list. But this same program, if I say list of 10 lakh people and find name Aman, it can do this in less than 1 second. See, so much time program is saving us. Like long before, when programs were not programming language, or the concept of programming were not there, people used to do manually these tasks, and it used to waste so much time. Now, because of programs, we have moved to a very fast-paced world where everything is done very quickly. Okay. Now, even the Zoom that we are using right now is programmed. It is programmed so that we can use it. We can have this meeting and teach you programming. Okay, so program is nothing but a set of sequential instructions given to the computer to solve a problem. So programs generally manage a large volume of data. Program accept data, process them, and provides meaningful information. Okay, this is important. You know how the various parts of programming. Programs, one, process data. Okay. Two, oh sorry, first accept data. They first have to accept a particular data to process it. Two, they process data. And three, they display the process data. So these are the three steps in which a program works. Any program will accept data, process the data, and display the process data. For example, in this program that I've written, this program is accepting the data I have written here. System.out.println. Our company's name is Antang Cracker. System.out.println Kavish. So it is accepting the data. Then it will process it. It will convert this data, this entire thing. For example, if I copy this, and if, for example, if I write this here, and then I say this is converted, this is converted to 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 1 1. So this entire thing, what I've written here, will be converted to this long, very complex code written here. So it's processing the data. It is processing the data. It is accepting the data, and then it will be displaying the data, the process data on the screen. So how will it display the process data? Compile, and if I run it, it is displaying the process data on the screen. So these are the main three parts of programming. Anyone has any doubt till here? Any simple, stupid doubt, anything like, no, if it's a complex doubt or anything?
Yes, I have a doubt.
Yeah, go on.
Hello.
Yeah, go on.
So as you have said that the Zoom call app which we are using is a final result of a program only.
Yeah, correct.
So can we say that program is used for communication also?
Yeah, program is for anything. See, what does program do? Program in all saves time. Now, for example, saves, I mean, if the Zoom was not coded only, then how would we have our school? I mean, then we would have to compulsorily go to school, waste that time. So program essentially saves time. Programs, yeah, you can categorize the applications of programming in many branches. Like programs helps us communicate, Zoom. Programs help save time. Programs helps classify data. Programs helps us in every aspect of life.
Okay, thank you.
Any other doubt? For example, just I mean, you guys are not like I mean, you guys are not. Uh, I don't expect you to know this, but for example, I'm writing a code. For example, int p is equal to 2 plus 2. Int p is equal to, p. Okay. For example, this code that I've written here, assuming that this was a a code related to it being a calculator or something, if this was like a calculator, then this code would essentially save so much time. For example, now in this case, the output here will be 4 and the output here will again be 4. Programming, I mean, this is just a simple printing application that we are using programming for. Simply, like similarly, there'll be many different applications that we use programming for. You guys are not supposed to know this. It's fine. I mean, how did 4 come? 4 didn't come. I'll be explaining. Any other doubt till what we've done? What we've done is just basics of what a program or programming is. Like, what is a program? Yeah, somebody's asking. Okay, so we'll move ahead. For example, we have to prepare a report card. So what data will we give to the report card? What data will we give to the program? So if we have to create a code for report card, what data will be given? Yeah, somebody answer this. Anyone? What data will be given for a code for report card? Anyone? I mean, there's no right or wrong answer. Just
Name of subjects, maximum marks,
can you repeat?
name of particular subjects, maximum marks a student
Maximum marks.
mark,
Correct. Then we can have the name of student. That'll
students.
be correct.
Yes.
Then somebody saying something.
Marks out of
Yeah, correct. Marks out of, so maximum marks out of, for example, 100. Or wait, not maximum. Let's just have marks out of 100. The house the student
Percentage.
All the marks of subject.
percentage. Then somebody said individual marks, right? Individual
Curricular activities.
mark. Yeah, okay. Co-curricular activities. Please. Then his teacher remark. There'll be a teacher remark, for example. Okay. As of now, let's this much be there. Okay. So now the data that this is the data that we have given it. Now, what will be the process that will happen in the code? What will the code do? What will the code do? What will the code do? What will the process happen in the program? Like if I'm writing something here, like something here, whatever, what will happen here? I am getting this data into my code, but then what's the main process? Like what's the main reason for having a report card?
To find out the percentage obtained.
Correct. So my code will find out the percentage. Yeah. Then it will find the total marks. If I have six subjects, my marks will be out of 600 out of, so if I got X marks out of 600, so it'll be out of 600. Then Then will there be rank? What is my class rank? Rank in class, correct? Then
Grade.
grade is percentage only, correct? Yeah. Then it can have my total marks in science, for example, or total marks in social studies. Okay, all this will be there. So this will be the processing that will happen. The computer will process the total marks in science. It will process the total marks in social studies. For example, if I give in two inputs like history and in geography, and if I say total int total social, guys, again, you all are not supposed to know this. I'm just explaining. For example, int total social studies is equal to history plus geography. Okay. Let's cut this as of now. Int dot out, uh, copy this. Okay, now I want any one of you to help me. Give me 1 marks for history and give me 1 marks for geography out of 100.
80.
80 in history. And give me a mark for geography.
85.
33.
33. Okay. Let's give one thoda low mark to somebody. 1 second. Okay. So one is okay. What is the total of this two?
113.
113. Let's see if you're right.
Yes.
113. So you're correct. So my program has given me the total in history and geography. For example, if I had to find the average in history and geography, I would do total divide by 2, because where there are two things, history and geography. And if I have to find average of two things, I divide by 2. So again, let's take the same marks. 80 in history and 33 in geography. What is the average of this two?
56.5.
56. The computer will only show 56 for a reason, which I'll be explaining. But you're correct, 56.5. So now this is the processing that's happening. And the last part that the program shows, so we give data. So input is one part. The second part was processing, which we just talked about. And the last part is display of information. Okay. And what is the display of information is just what we did right now. Display of the total or display of the average. For example, again, 80 and 33. Here is the display of the information. Now, since we have just put one thing, it is only displaying 56. And this screen on which it displays information is called the terminal window or the output window in BlueJ or in any other IDE, the place where the code's output is displayed or showed is called terminal window or output window / screen. Guys, remember this. What is the place where the output is showed called? It is called the terminal window or the output screen. Let me see if you guys are paying attention or not. Ria, what is the place where the data is showed called? What is the place where the data is showed called? Okay, Shubham, what is the place where the data is showed called or displayed called?
IDE, I guess. Where
No,
data?
UJ.
No, guys. The ID is the place where I'm writing. BlueJ is called the ID. I'm asking what is the place where the data is showed or displayed called. I just told you all this.
A terminal window.
Terminal window.
Terminal window.
Correct. The place where the data is displayed or showed is called the terminal window or the output window or the output screen. Instead of window, you can use the word screen. Okay, this is a technical term and we are supposed to know it. So now this was the example of how we What are the three main components of programming? Okay. Next, let's get into the let's get into programming. Okay. Let's delete this. Okay. First, there are two main parts of programming in Java. Two main parts of programming in Java. Okay. One is called a class. Okay. And one are called objects. Now, it will take me one full hour to explain what a class is and 3 full hours to explain what an object is. So, and that what is we'll do in future classes when we have a basic idea of what programming is or what are the small aspects of programming, because these are slightly complex topics. So, you know what we generally do with beginners is that we just tell them to learn for the first 3-4 classes that, you know, this is the way we write a certain code. So let's say class Java for all. Okay. So we always start programming by writing class Java for all. Then we put these curly brackets. Okay. We put this curly brackets, and inside those curly brackets or within those curly brackets we write public static void main. Then again we put curly brackets, and then we start writing. Okay, now this is a rule. Okay, you can't change it, or you can't ask me why do we write like that. It's just a rule, and there's a particular reason for why we write every single word, why we write public, why we write static, what is void, what is main, what is not main. And that each of these words will take me another half an hour to explain each of these words. So generally for beginners, what we do is we tell them to just learn these 2 lines as of now, and inside we start teaching. Okay, and once we have a basic idea of how programming goes or what programming is, what are the small parts of programming in Java, then we explain these complicated parts, which is objects and classes. With, you know, objects and classes, this concept is, you know, generally taught to those in second or third year of, or even first, second, third year of colleges. And object oriented programming are the questions that are generally asked in interviews and company interviews to programmers. So that, you know, that tells us ki, wow, this is such an important topic. And if I'm learning this at an early age, or, you know, whenever I'm learning this, it's a really important thing of programming. So, okay, let's start with the simplest part of Java programming statement. The simplest part of Java programming. The simplest part of Java programming is called Java tokens. Java tokens. And I'll explain you all what Java tokens is. But Java tokens is the smallest, as a definition, smallest unit of Java programming. Very similar to what I've written here, smallest part, sorry. Or the simplest part or the smallest part. Okay, so now let's write a Java token. For example, if I write int a is equal to 10. Now this is a Java token. You might ask me, what is int? What is this? What is double B is equal to 3.41, 3.412? What is long L equal to 34L? What is all of this? You might ask me. And my simple answer is, I'll explain it to you all. Now, first we remember that this is called a Java token. Int a is equal to 10 is called a Java token. Okay, let's first discuss what this int, double, and long is. Guys, I'm pretty sure you all know basic mathematics, like second or third grade mathematics. If I say if I say this number 1, 2, or 2, or 30, 56, or 79, what are these numbers called in mathematics?
Natural numbers.
Integers.
Oh yeah,
Integers.
natural numbers is right, but you know, specifically these are integers.
Okay.
You are absolutely right. Whoever said natural number is not wrong, she is also absolutely right. But specifically to this question, it's called integers. And what is this called?
It is a float value.
No. In mathematics,
Decimal.
Decimal numbers.
these are decimal numbers. So these are the main 2 categories of numbers that we have. Then we have something called, like, you know, 3.3i. These are complex numbers in mathematics. Complex numbers. Then we have pi, which is irrational numbers. Correct. So like this, we have various categories of numbers. So now let's get to integers. So for integers, to store integers in Java, we write something called int. This int that I've written here is used for storing integers. The double that I've written here is used for storing double decimal numbers. Okay, let's forget about irrational and complex numbers as of now. Okay, so int and double that I've written here is used for storing integers, and double is used for storing decimal numbers. Okay, now like integers and double, there are various other ways of storing different numbers. So there's something called long, there's something called float, there's something called char, there's something called boolean, and there's something called short, there's something called byte, and there's something 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, as of now we'll discuss these. So yeah, so we discussed int and double. So let's practice this. If I write this, write a program to store 101. Can somebody tell me what should I write here in this uh, colored area to write this? This is the question. Yeah. Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Int c equals to 101.
Can you repeat again? I guess the voice was lagging a bit.
Int c equals to 101.
101 and a semicolon. Guys, one thing to remember, like it's very irritating in Java that we need to put the semicolon after every line. But you know, in English language, how we say, I had explained this earlier. My name is Kavish. I study in 12th grade. How I had written this. Now, you know, in English language, it's compulsory to put a full stop. Like if I have to start another sentence that my friend's name is Arpit, for example, then again I have to put a full stop. His friend's name is XYZ. Again, I put a full stop. After every sentence, we need to put a full stop in English language. Similarly, just like that, in Java, after every statement, we need to put a semicolon. Okay. And whoever said this answer is absolutely correct. Int C is equal to 101. Okay. Question 2. I don't want the same person to answer. Okay, guys, instead of write a program, I'll write the shortcut WAP. So let's remember this for future videos. It saves a lot of time. To store 3 point, okay, to store pi, which is 3.142, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Can tell me what should I write here?
Double A is equals to 3.14 and so on.
Your answer is correct.
And
but
then
since
yeah,
we already-
semicolon.
No, but since we already used A, we will use a different.
Yeah,
now,
B. B.
let's say P is equal to 3.142. Okay, and the semi. Okay. It will compile. Okay, no need to compile it. I'm saying it will compile. This is absolutely correct. Now, if I say, okay, let's now first discuss the ahead ones. Now, there's something called long. Long is similar to integer type data. Just a note, all of this what you're writing here in double long are called data types in Java. Data types in Java. The different types to store different types of data. Okay, so these are called data types in Java. So we have long, which is similar to integer data type. Difference is its memory size. Memory size, which we will discuss. Let's get to float. Float is similar to, any guesses what is float similar to?
Double.
Double.
Absolutely.
Double.
Float is similar to double, and The only difference is again memory, uh, size and range. Okay, here also memory, size and range. Let's get to char. Any idea what char is? Anyone has any clue what it is? I mean, it's
Variable, alphabets, variables.
Character.
correct. Char is the short form of character. So now let's get to char. Okay, we like float and long are very similar. I'll explain how to define this. I'll say float. There's one thing in float that we must remember. For example, if I say float f is equal to 3.14, in just float, I need to put this f, capital F or small f after my number. Okay, and I say long r, or wait, or long L is equal to 99 lakhs, whatever this number is. Okay, and if I say, okay, so we discussed. Okay, now we are on char. Now if I say char, ch is equal to A. So now what char does, it's those letters, it's those character. So char, char or character, whatever you call this, char, is used for storing characters. So I can store so many things. I can store f is equal to, sorry, you use single quotes. Okay, guys, remember, not double quotes here. Char y is equal to o, char ty or typu, anything you can write is equal to uh, ds. Okay, so now this is used to store characters, only one character. Okay, you can't put two, you can't put three, you can't put four. Okay, it is only used to store one character. Okay, any doubts with char? And it can also store capital or small. Okay, it doesn't matter. But guys, one important thing, very important thing, uh, Java is case sensitive. Now, what is case sensitive? If I write, uh, if I write Darsh, and if I write Darsh, these are two different things in Java. For example, I make it more specific. For example, Adarsh Khan, and if I write Adarsh Khan, although we know that this is referring to the same person, Adarsh Khan. Okay, wait. Adarsh Khan all capital and Adarsh Khan all small. Although we know, we as humans know that it is referring to the same person, but in Java or to the computer, these are two different things. For example, if I write, see, int, okay, wait, let's work with this example only. Int a is equal to 10. Okay, let's rub all of this. Okay, right, see, if I compile on, click on compile, and uh, down here, you can see it shows me no syntax errors. So syntax in Java means no language errors. As we have discussed at the start of the class, when I wrote my name is Kavish and one of y'all said, my is M is small or the full stop is missing. Similarly, if I click on compile, it shows me class compiled, no syntax error. That means there is no typing error, or there is no programming error, or there is no error in the syntax. Syntax means language. Syntax means language or programming language error. Okay. Um, let's clear this and get back to this. So I said int a is equal to 10. Now instead of small I, if I write big I, and if I click on compile, it's showing me an error. Cannot find symbol class int. Now, as I had told you, Java is case sensitive. So, small I and big I are different in Java. Okay. So, similarly, if I say int a is equal to 10, if I say int a is equal to 10, A is equal to 8, and if I say system dot out is ln A, okay. Can anyone tell me what will this show me on the screen? This,
10.
pardon?
10.
This will show me 10. Anyone else has any other answer? One person is saying 10. Do you all agree with her or him, or do you all disagree? Do you all have any other answers?
Agree.
Okay. So you're correct. This will show me 10 on the screen. Let's check it out. Void main 10. So this is showing 10. Okay, correct. So in Java, small a, capital A, or any letter which is small and big are different. Okay. So Java is case sensitive. So we spoke about char, we spoke about long, we spoke about float. When we byte and short, both of these, both are similar to int. Only difference is memory size and range. Okay, this is very simple, so we are not going to discuss much about it, but I can show this. Byte uh, a is equal to 126. Okay. This is okay, sorry, byte r is equal to 126. See, this is compiling, it showing me no syntax error. See, now byte has a range from minus 127 to plus 127. So if I put 128 here, it's going to show me an error. Uh, Incompatible data types, possible loss of precision, because byte is its data range is only from minus 127 to plus 127. Okay, and all these data range values have been given in the PDF on the group. If you all have joined the group new, I'll again share it. Okay. So byte has a range from, so now to make this error go away, I can write int r is equal to 128 and the error will go away. Okay, so this was basic. Now the last thing that we're going to talk about is Boolean. Boolean C. Okay, now what is Boolean? Boolean is a data type that stores either one. Okay, any guesses? What does it store? It stores only
True
two
and
things.
false. True and false.
It either stores true or it either stores false. So this is what Boolean stores. That's it. You can write Boolean C is equal to true. Boolean F is equal to false. And if I say system out dot dot one second, print ln F. What will this print on the screen, guys?
False. Will.
Print false. Okay. Once. Okay, so let's check. Void main. It's showing 10 and false. 10 is from the previous one and false. Correct. So this is showing me false. So Boolean stores either true or either false. So this was the conclusion to the data types in Java for storing different types of data. Now for memory ranges, please refer to the PDF on the group. And there's also a homework given on the group for today's class. We will resend it for those who have joined new. You all can refer to that. I think this was the end for today's class.